Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of The Den, the show where I ramble on and on about things that are on my mind. Today's episode is going to start off a bit negative, I guess, because um a YouTube channel that I once admired greatly is pretty much just turned out that that's a bit of a shit show. So, I'm not going to get into too many details, but in short, Channel Awesome is a shambling wreck because of quite a few accusations of sexual assault and abuse in the workplace, which is outright inexcusable. It's inexcusable. I had so much respect for Doug, for Rob. Just God, why are you guys like this? Why are you allowing an asshole to run your shows? Why are you allowing this person to run your shows? Can't you guys do anything? Oh, wait a minute. You guys are part of the problem. Both Doug and Rob are part of the problem. They are. And they're not doing a goddamn thing to change it. And as somebody who's enjoyed Channel Awesome's content for several years now, I think ever since 2012, 2013, as as somebody who's enjoyed their content for those many years, I honestly feel betrayed. I feel betrayed. I feel like I've been almost exploited because I had no idea these things were happening. I had no idea these things were happening. Had I known that these things were happening, I would have stopped watching when I discovered them. I would have stopped watching. I wouldn't even have started watching had I known what was going on. And as much as I enjoyed their content, I think it's time that I stop watching them. It's definitely time that I stop watching them. It's definitely time that you stop watching them. They need to learn a lesson. And if that means they have to start hemorrhaging money, then so be it. If they start hemorrhaging money even more than they are now, and if they go bankrupt, then so be it. Corrupt people like this need to learn their lesson. Corrupt people like this need to understand that there are consequences, that there are repercussions. And just, God, it is so damn frustrating. Stuff like this is just damn frustrating. To know that people that you've admired, to know that people that you've admired were actually assholes and not nice people and not even respectable outright. That's infuriating. Again, I used to have respect for these guys. Again, used to. Emphasis on that part. Because I'm no longer going to be watching them. I'll move on to somebody else. Maybe, maybe I'll go see Linkara's channel. Maybe I'll try to find Lupus Obscura. Maybe I'll go to, the Nostalgia Chick's channel. If she still makes videos, I'm not quite sure. Or maybe I'll just find a Nostalgia Critic knockoff to start enjoying. Because let's be honest, at this point, this makes knockoffs who know what they're doing more honest. This is outright reprehensible. But anyway, other than that, let's move on to something else. How about that Spyro teaser that dropped on Twitter? There was a dragon egg, and next to dragon egg was something is going to hatch. Something is going to hatch, and that is freaking the Spyro, the dragon egg. That's a dragon egg. And plus, the person they attributed the little quote to is actually the name given to the official Spyro the Dragon Twitter page. So I'm ready. I am absolutely ready for this. Here we fucking go. Let's go. I'm ready. Bring on the dragon. I'm ready. I am so ready. Wow, my voice cracked so hard just then. But on another less happy note, I know this is going to be an emotional roller coaster today. Um, okay. Activision has decided that after 6 months of exploiting its players on Shadow of War with loot boxes, that they're going to take down the loot boxes or chests or whatever the fuck they're called, and they're going to get rid of the marketplace entirely as well as the gold currency. Which, I mean, okay, it's 6 months too late. You've already sucked a lot of your players dry, okay? You've leached enough money off of them, so you're done with that. I get that. But okay. I've always had a problem with loot boxes personally because they either have something of value like gold or credits or whatever instead of something minor like cosmetics. And games like Shadow of War and Overwatch have been known to exploit their players a little too much. I mean, I don't believe in loot boxes. I outright refuse to support them. And trust me, I made the mistake of buying Overwatch. I made that mistake. And to have to shell out like freaking $12 for PS Plus and having to shell out extra cash just to get friggin' loot crates, digital items, that in of itself is shady. That in of itself is absolutely shady and a scummy thing to do. I personally am not fond of these kinds of business practices with AAA games. The game as a service model as a whole is highly toxic. It's highly corrosive to the gaming industry. It's going to eat away at a game's potential. I mean, just look at Final Fantasy 15 for lack of a better example right now. This is having this game has the games as a service model, which is why we're getting all these episode DLCs, why we got episode Ignis, and we're going to be getting episode Arden, which I'm still excited about, but we're not talking about that right now. The Final Fantasy 15 is a prime example of why the games as a service model is inherently bad. Shadow of Mordor, or not Shadow of Mordor, Shadow of War is another prime example of why games as a service is a terrible business model. Yes, it does make game developers more money than they already get, but it makes the game's experience, the overall experience, it shallows that experience. It shallows it vastly. The one of the better examples of DLC or loot would have to be Warframe. That game is by all means, superior in the DLC department, because they have done the right thing and listened to fan feedback. They've done that. And Warframe is basically what game developers should be doing in the first place. They should be listening to the fans. They should be listening closely to the feedback. They should be responding to feedback. They should be fixing issues. They should be fixing any problems in the game instead of just resting on their laurels all day and waiting until the outcry is too much. Again, Final Fantasy 15, if you will. Yes, I know. I love the game. I love the game. I really do. But there are so many glaring flaws. Some of which have been filled in by the DLCs. Things that should have been in the game to begin with. But no. And by the way, I got AccursedTigress through essentially free money that the PlayStation Store gave me. So I have no qualms with that method. But anyway, I personally don't like that model. I hate it even. Final Fantasy 15, like, granted, you could play the game without all the DLCs, but you'd be fairly out of the loop in terms of canon. Being without the DLCs will leave somebody insanely out of the loop in terms of canon, because a lot of 15 before the episode DLC started coming out, a lot of the fans had to speculate. A lot of the fans had to speculate, who Izunia was. A lot of people had to theorize about what Ignis was doing during the fall of Altissia, and what happened to Prompto after he got pushed off the train, and all that. But because of the DLCs, we now know the truth. But we wouldn't have been speculating in the first place had they actually put that shit in the game. Square Enix is, I think, one of the, they're not as bad with the games as a service model right now, but it still makes me fear for it still makes me fear for Final Fantasy VII Remake, because they're putting it into chapters like a Telltale game, and that's to me that's not a good thing. That is not a good thing at all, because I want the game complete in my hands. I want the game complete in my hands, which again is not a lot to ask for. It's not a lot to ask for. I grew up on Nintendo GameCube games. Games that had to be complete upon launch. Games that had to be completed by launch. And if not, they would have to be delayed until they got it right. That's the era I grew up in. An era where games as a service was not an issue. An era where, save for the occasional piece of shovelware, was near perfection. And here we are, a decade down the line, and the AAA gaming industry is slowly falling apart because of greed. And I am absolutely sick of it. Positively sick of it. And as I've said in the previous video, we're living in an era where if a game so much has one hiccup, the chances of it coming out are suddenly slim, if not none. technical difficulties could spell the end for a game. It almost spelled the end for Final Fantasy 15 because they couldn't get they could barely get the Leviathan fight to work properly in the Luminous engine, which is why I'm sitting here questioning why they're making a development studio based entirely on the Luminous engine. It's unstable. It's unstable. It's not worth the risk. Square, what are you doing? Square, no. That is a bad idea. That is an absolutely bad idea. But anyway, this video is almost 20 minutes long. I need to shut the fuck up. So, yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This has been Accursed Tigress, and I'm out. See ya.